What you can see here in front of you is the given view. Okay, I haven't added everything, but what I have done is to label. Take note that I've labeled the hexagon prism as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the square prism, or the hole that's in it, was A, B, C, and D. Right, I've also done the section line AA, as you can see. Now remember that they want, as I understand the question, they want the full view showing the true shape. So we're going to have to draw an XY line which is parallel to the AA line. Right, so you can see what I've done there is to draw the XY line parallel to that one, to the section line AA. I'm now going to project the hexagon first. I'm not going to draw the ABC square prism inside of it. I'm just going to give attention to the hexagon. I've drawn the visible side because if you look from this side, as you can see this X or the plus sign moving, if you look from that direction onto the section line, this would be the part that would fall away, but yes, this would be visible, that would be invisible. So the blue lines that you see here shows me the visible hexagon, and the yellow line shows me the invisible part, although the outlines will be visible. And that point 3, which I haven't labeled there, and that point 3 has been joined with one another. So this is what the drawing would have looked like with hidden detail. But remember that the hidden detail will fall out at the end of the day with regards to the section that's been hatched. But I'm leaving it there because we might have to use some of these lines at some point later. I say might, I'm not saying it will. So let's have a look. I'm now going to go about determining the section, where that section line goes through, or the section plane where it cuts this prism with a hole inside of it. You can now see what has happened. A lot of projection lines that has been added, but yes, the first one goes through point 6. So it goes through point 6, then it goes through line 5 and through line 1. So at that intersecting point, so I've projected that onto line 1, and I've projected it onto line 5, which is that line there. Let's go and have a look. Onto line 1 and 5, projected onto line 1 and onto line 5. It gives me those two intersecting points. Carry on with that, it intersects line 2 and line 4. It intersects there, so it intersects line 2 at this position and line 4 at that position. Then we carry on with the section, it intersects at point 3, which is that point there. But you must remember now that when we take away this top part, this whole bottom part is still left over, right? So all of this, that hidden detail there and that hidden detail there, all of that, line 6 in other words, as well as the whole base is still visible. The whole base, therefore, that part there, that line 2, 3 and that line 3, 4 is visible, but obviously this line 2 part of it, that sectioned part is still visible. It's not cut out. This is still underneath the section plane, so that is the visible line. So that part is visible. The same with this line 4. It's visible. Line 4 on the front side and line 2 at the back side, they are visible. So I've done that in blue to show you the visible part of the prism. But the red part is the sectioned part. Take note that I've just added this. Note that the XY line and the section lines are parallel. The section line, which is this one, should have been section line. It's not lines, it's just one, sorry. And the XY line. Those two are parallel to one another. So now I'm going to give attention to the square ABCD, the square ABCD at the bottom. The black lines will be projected from the visible part. If you looked onto that, you would see that. This part would be at the bottom part, which you won't see, so the green lines is the invisible. Imagine it's invisible because you're looking from that side onto the whole thing before we section. So first of all, I'm going to draw the whole thing and then section it. Right, so here's the square hole. I'm just going to give attention to that. You will ask, why didn't I do that as a hidden line? The reason for it is a hole. We look right into this mouthpiece, so you're going to see that corner there. So that's why I did not draw that as a hidden line. And yes, I've drawn it as faint lines. Let's zoom in. You can see what I mean by faint. Slightly fainter than the rest. Reason for that is that we'll have to delete some of it perhaps on a later stage, or even draw it fainter and leave it for your drawing sake. Okay, so that is what the drawing would look like at this point with a square. Obviously by this time you would have the hexagon around it also. I'll put that in a little while from now. But to show you how do we determine the section, I'm going to see that the section takes place right there at line A. Then it takes place at line B and line D. That line there, so it's going to go line to line D and to line B there. And it sections line C. And I'm going to take that section and project it down, as you'll see. I've now added the section. You can see there's the projection line going onto line A, the section onto line B and to line D, onto line D and onto line B. Gives me those 2 points there, and the section line onto line C. Let me zoom in and give you a closer look on that slightly. Right, so you can see onto line A, the section line. You see there's many lines. Yours might all look like one line on your drawing because you don't have the ability of a computer. That's fine. So that's where that section would take me, and that section would be there. Line C coming on that section. So this is the section of that square part. But now we're looking right into the square. So that part of the line is going to be visible. That line AA is going to be visible. But if you look very carefully, you'll see that we still have that corner that's also going to be visible. So that's the point C, or that might look like it's going to be visible, but that's point C, which has been cut away. Point C, you can see there, that point C has been cut away on the black line. So the point C falls away. In actual fact, then this falls away. That falls away, and that becomes visible. That line there, line AA, and this line becomes visible. That line becomes visible. There it will fall away. That will fall away because remember we're not going to hatch. We're going to hatch, and we're not going to show hidden detail underneath the hatching. So on this view, this is what your drawing should look like with all the faint lines and stuff in place. Yes, obviously you would have labels there. You could have wiped it out like I've done, doesn't matter. But this is what your drawing should look like. What I am going to do is to zoom in on this, and then I'm going to take away the excessive lines like the projection lines and the faint lines inside to show you what the drawing looks like on its own without all the other, can we call it junk lines? I won't call it that, but yeah. So I'm zooming in. That's what your drawing would look like. Okay, you've got it. Let's put the whole drawing back in place and then see what that would look like. It looks like a big mess with all the lines, yes, but unfortunately that's what it looks like. This is what your drawing would look like if you've left all the projection lines and stuff in place. Obviously not in color, but yes, this is what your drawing should look like. And I'm going to end off with this because you only wanted to know about the true shape part. The view on this side here, the left view or right view, I'm not sure which is asked. That would be very much the same as this thing, except that you won't have a true shape. Goodbye.